nice.
It's time for me to get yelled at. In my best impression of Gene Honda, please help me welcome Allison Moran.
Hi guys, how are you?
City.
You guys look so handsome today.
Thank you.
Not me. I'm not on camera.
You're a lucky man, sir. Do you know how long it takes me to put on this face?
Oh, come on,
ladies and gentlemen, we already have our YouTube short for the day.
Allie, you are a natural beauty.
2 of them.
You are extremely smart, and you know your craft. Okay,
You're so sweet. Thank you.
I've known that about Allie for 14 years. She came to me. Okay, I didn't have to come to her. She came to me, and that was the end of that.
I mic dropped in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what
true.
could I do? I had to. It was right
there.
Yeah, it was there. So I had to. Brian, you had been stalking me on Facebook for a while. So, and you're like, I got to get you on my show, and I'm like, okay, and then we finally met at the Sky game, and it was hilarious because I'm like, oh, it was you. And I'm like,
she gave me the Vince McMahon moment. It was you,
right?
Oh, son of a bitch!
Your cover was blown. You couldn't hide behind those cute little memes on Facebook or anything like that. It was you in the flesh.
In person.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Oz.
It was. Listen, Allie didn't like pull the curtains back like they did in the Wizard of Oz. Oh no, she lit a match and burn that sumbitch to the ground.
Behind the curtain.
But if there was ever a person that has been a friend for many, many years to me, despite even with our sports coverage, just being a friend to me off the mic, Allie, it is you here. That's why
you are so sweet. And
with it being opening day, I had to do Gene Honda, who is my all-time favorite PA announcer, and the person I had a chance to meet and see a couple times, not just at Sox Fest in 05, but a couple times at the hall, because he's He's fun to talk to.
He's a sweet guy. And, he's always there for you. It doesn't matter how many fans come up to him. Doesn't matter. He's just there, and he's a consummate professional. He reminds me a whole lot of Pat Hughes. Yeah, just the kindest, nicest guy, no matter what you say to him. He's like, oh, okay, I understand. I gotcha. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, And
I was one year, I wrote to Pat Hughes, and I said, I'd love to have you on my show. And I didn't think he would get back to me. Huh? He got back to me quicker than I can blink, because as soon as I turned around, there was a message waiting for me. We set everything up, and we did the interview. One of the kindest-hearted people I've ever done an interview with. He and Gene Honda and John Rooney.
Yes.
I had Wayne Larrivee on. Just that have been
all the good people
to us on this show. It is so much fun to have you and the rest of the folks that I've known in broadcasting for many years to be here. All right, down to business.
Yeah.
We lead with this. And I hate the fact that Juju Watkins is gone for the year, and I'm hurt.
This is one of the most serious injuries, an ACL tear, which was what Juju Watkins had in the second round or the first round? It was the second round of the NCAAs. And the thing that that was great was that despite that, USC managed to steamroll the competition, and thanks to their I call them the Watkinettes, their backup crew. They are still a formidable addition to the Sweet 16. But you got to remember this, and that is, who has recovered from ACL injuries? You got Cameron Brink. You've got Paige Beckers. Both of them came back from an ACLU tear. And I think that Juju is going to work her ass off for the next many months, because this is a year-long process with an ACL tear. And it's tragic that it happened at this time of the season. And I don't know what that's going to do to USC. Now, right now, they're heading to Spokane, and they've got they've got a tough opponent. But in Kansas State, the number 5 seed. And, what I'm thinking, though, is that they can get beyond the Kansas State, even without Juju.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that Kiki Irafans is going to probably take over that lead for them, and they are going to be able to get into the Final Four, as I predicted, or the round of I'm just going to keep my prediction for now, and we'll see where it goes from there. But Juju, she's going to be there, with her cast on, and with, she is going to be out there with them. She is going to be something of an assistant coach. That's my guess. If the doctors let her travel, she's going to be there. Now, I've had not an ACL tear, but kind of a similar injury in that my ankle snapped, and I remember saying, but I got to cover a Bulls game the next day. And they're like,
in there.
My doctor said, what the hell are you thinking of? And I'm like, I got to cover a Bulls game the next day. What are you going to do? He goes, well, we can put you in a walking cast. We can do that. But you're going to have to make sure that you don't put any pressure on that leg. So I'm hopping all over the United Center with my crutches. And this 5-pound walking cast on my leg, and traveling. Mercifully, I'm so glad they had the elevators, but outside of that, I was the guys in the press box were always so nice, and they were always oh, can I carry that for you, because I've got a backpack with all of my equipment in it and media guides and such. So I could see Juju doing the same kind of thing, and because she's not going to want to let her team down. But it's, I think, though, that in the end, at least for USC and K-State, I don't think that K-State's defense is up to it. I just think that they are going to it's a lopsided matchup even without Juju. And
here's the wild card player. Here's the wild card player that also has came back come back from a torn ACL and now helping Kansas State. Ioka Lee, they're 6'7"
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she missed. Well, she missed a lot of the Big 12 season last year with various injuries, including that. And she's 6'6". She's a center. She's very aggressive. She is going to be a threat with that. The other one is Serena Sindel, and she too is a serious threat. And anything can happen in this. So, I'm saying the Trojans are going to have to really make a concerted effort. They're going to beat them with athleticism, though, and defense. Because
for USC to win, they've got to play high octane, high speed basketball as they've done all year.
Yeah.
They come into Saturday averaging a little over 87 points per game.
Right.
Kansas State is at 78. Kansas State wants to slow it down. USC has got to play 100-mile-an-hour basketball, as I love to say. The lopsided matchup of the weekend is in Spokane. It's the game before it. It's Oklahoma and UConn, 3 versus 2.
Oh, my God.
And I say lopsided, even looking at this line here, UConn is favored by almost 15 points, and I think that'll be the end of the first quarter.
Right.
Here's the thing. This is UConn's 31st straight Sweet 16.
Yep.
There is something about Gino Auriemma's teams that just come alive no matter where they're seated, they come alive during the NCAAs. And Oklahoma, the Sooners, are high scoring. They are in the Sweet 16 for the first time since 2013. Now that's 12 years. However, you've got to understand though that you've got Paige Beckers on that team, the first team All-American, dropping 34 points against the Jackrabbits back in the final game. You also have Ozzie Fudd, who is extremely healthy at this point, and so I don't see them out of the Final Four, which was another one of my predictions. And I see them not rolling over Oklahoma. I see them sort of doing enough to get by Oklahoma. I see them doing just enough. I don't see them rolling over Oklahoma because Oklahoma has a damn fine team, and we will see. They are a force to be reckoned with. They have the 5th best scoring offense in the nation with 85.4 points per game. And so I just believe strongly, though, that there is something about Gino Auriemma that is going to propel UConn into not just the Elite Eight, but the Final Four.
That's where I picked them.
Yep. We all did, honey. We all did.
We all picked UConn to get to the Final Four. Finally, to get back to the Final Four. I'll tell you, a sneaky good matchup on Friday. That's Tobacco Road. I had the pleasure of having Chris Edwards on the show earlier this week, the radio voice of the Duke Lady Blue Devils. It's North Carolina and Duke at 2:30 on Friday in Birmingham.
I am so excited. I'm excited because I have always loved the Duke versus North Carolina matchup, male, female. I mean,
listen, I've been to a few Duke UNC games.
Where?
Games
Chapel Hill or
both.
Really? Oh my God.
The first time I saw Carolina Duke in person was February 2nd, 1995 at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I was warned that Cameron Indoor Stadium gets loud. I knew this from watching on television. I experienced the Cameron Crazies in person. and blew out my voice. They blew out my ears. And just as I thought everything was going to be okay, Jeff Capel hit a 60-foot shot to force double overtime, and I was done.
How cool.
That game ended 102-100 when Cherokee Parks, there's a name for you, had a chance to Wojciechowski had a chance to put one back. Cherokee Parks had a chance to put one back as the horn sounded.
Oh my gosh, back to Cherokee, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
And we all, after that final horn sounded, doesn't matter if you were cheering for Duke or North Carolina, you can all breathe because we couldn't have survived. At 9,300 people in Cameron Indoor Stadium, we couldn't have survived a third overtime.
No,
we could not have survived a third overtime.
You would have had a lot of ambulances lining up for not only the team, but for the fans, all of them.
Duke University Hospital would have been busy that night.
Yeah.
They could handle them. That's a pretty good hospital.
Duke University Hospital could have been very busy. And then you got another sneaky good matchup at 5 p.m. It's 4th seed Maryland. This is in Birmingham. 4th seed Maryland take on the top overall seed in South Carolina. Now remember, Maryland survived Alabama in 2 overtimes, 111. What say you about that matchup on Friday?
Oh my Lord. Let's just say that this is going to be a concerning matchup for South Carolina. Remember that when they were really pushed by the number 9 seed Indiana, and their win over Indiana, which surprised me, was 64-53. Yep. Now, I would have expected much more from Dawn Staley's team, but they, let's say it was, I would say that it's going to be a battle of 2 coaches who are scrappers and Hall of Famers. And Brenda Fries is just the most amazing coach. I've talked to her before. I've been out to their very, very, very nice stadium in Maryland, and I will say that since she hasn't won a championship since 2006, she is going to be just pounding the players. Now they are the Terps have bounced into the Sweet 16 for the 4th time in 5 years, but that overtime victory in the round of 32, 111-108, they did have home court advantage, which I think always helps a team. But and they also had 3 players who scored over 20 points and a double-double. So they are not going to have that kind of advantage playing South Carolina. My sense is on this neutral court, it's going to be South Carolina that shines. I think that it's going to be South Carolina that is going to be the one to really dominate this Maryland team. As much as I love Brenda, and I don't see it. By the way, you never gave your prediction for UNC versus Duke.
I'm not.
Why?
Because
come on, you wussy. Come on.
Well, if she challenges me like that, I'm going to have to say something. I am going, I hate doing this because I got friends on both sides.
I don't care. You're a professional, Brian.
Not today. I'm not. After what I've said a few times over. Don't be surprised if there is an extra period that will decide it. But I'm leaning on Duke's defense to get the job done.
You know, I'm right with you. I love Carol Lawson, their head coach. I love the fact that they have clawed their way back into the good graces of the NCAAs again, because they've been out of it for so long. And I mean, they were one of the first teams that I ever was able to cover and really enjoy. And so I love this matchup. I have to agree with you. I can do no more than agree with you. However, if when Duke gets to the Elite Eight, they're out of it.
Yeah. I know, because they're going to face South Carolina 2 versus 1, but South Carolina.
I don't see it yet. I could maybe see it in another year, although I have to say I don't like dynasties as a general rule, except for the Bulls in the 1990s.
I'm sitting over here with the 2000 Patriots dynasty. What does that say?
Right.
I'm sitting over here with the 49ers dynasty of the 80s and the 90s. Of course, the Bulls of the 90s. Look,
you already know the dynasty.
Game 2 of the NBA World Championship Series, I was in the stadium, losing my mind, losing my voice, and losing my ears. So
and your brain is guessing
everything else. I barely knew how to get home that night. So been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
You already know the groups I had.
With this particular matchup, it's going to be Duke's defense that's going to carry them into the regional final on Sunday, and more than likely they will face South Carolina.
I got Duke in that game, but it's going to be last possession.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the wire, and as I said, do not be surprised if there's an extra period involved.
I do have a question though. I do have a question that I need addressed. We talked about it Monday, and I want to ask Allison about this.
Okay.
Why are these big wigs dragging their feet and dragging their heels, dipping their toes in the water when it comes to these women's tournament games being in small locales? Why can't they put them in bigger locations?
Yes.
How about this with Jay Spivey?
Let's hear
I 100% agree with you. Was that Victor?
Yes,
I thought so. The thing is that the NCAA is slow to move on every single progressive step that you can make. And the thing is, they're like, well, what if this happens? Then we won't get, this amount of people in the stadium. They are they are probably the last of the groups to actually support the progress of women's basketball. Remember that the NCAA didn't even claim the women until 1982. They'd been playing since 1974.
Yes.
I watched the Mighty Macs. I know this. And so, they won they were an incredible group. Watch the movie if you know nothing about the Mighty Macs. But it was, and so I think it's a matter of what they perceive as the popularity of women's sports versus the men's sports. Understand that the men's game is the most betted on after the Super Bowl. So they've, I think what they're going to need to realize is that the women's game has filled stadiums, off season and during the season for a long time. Have you seen the crowds in the early days? They have really filled every stadium. It used to be you had 10 people in a women's stadium. And I think the NCAA group is so provincial and conservative.
Right.
that they don't see the possibility of opening it up until it's guaranteed that they can sell out 20,000.
Then all I have to say for them to put it to the test is 3 words: Lucas Oil Stadium.
Try it out. It's like
Right.
You can't tell me if they can fit, and I'll say this until they actually act on it. If you can put 55,000 people in Kinnick Stadium, which is open air, by the way, exhibition game between Iowa and DePaul, what the hell says you can't fit 70,000+ in Lucas Oil Stadium, fill it to the brim, SRO for the women's Final Four?
What?
There was a matchup some years ago, I think it was Tennessee and UConn, and they played that in Phoenix, Arizona. In open air.
You wouldn't have a WrestleMania if there wasn't a gamble involved.
Exactly.
That's a good
you're
point.
not wrong.
Because after 1990, after 2000, I beg your pardon, they started putting WrestleMania in big stadiums.
Football stadiums, yeah.
In big stadiums, because the first one, WrestleMania 18, was I want to actually, let me try that again. The first ever WrestleMania was in a big stadium was the Silverdome.
The Silverdome, yep.
And then 3 years later, they went to the Sky Dome in Toronto. And then since WrestleMania 18, they've had it in football or baseball stadiums. So what makes you think you can't put women's basketball, especially the Final Four, in stadiums like State Farm in Phoenix, Arizona, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, as I said before, and the Superdome in New Orleans? They can test the waters with the Alamo Dome, and I'm willing to bet you when they go to the Alamo Dome, they won't open the whole stadium up, because, as Ali says, they're so provincial and they're so conservative.
They're scared.
They're flat out scared. You want to test the waters? Open the Alamo Dome all the way up.
Look at UConn itself. All of the UConn faithful could fill. Listen, I've got a couple matchups that we have to talk about.
Okay.
Texas and Tennessee. Number 1, Texas. Number 5, Tennessee. Texas is going down. No,
they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. I'm doing that one Saturday, because I have Saturday off. My wife's going to be at home. Texas will beat Tennessee, but it will be close.
Let me say this. The Lady Vols are the top scoring offense in the country.
And they're going to get slowed down by Texas's defense.
They will be down and not out. And the last time they played, Texas came away with an 80-76 victory.
It's going to listen. I'm not doubting the Tennessee Volunteers. The Ghost of Pat Summitt lives. All right.
Like
Tennessee's been one of my favorite teams to follow in women's basketball forever. And Pat Summitt is the reason forever.
Yes.
However, I have one name for you, Allie, that will seal the deal against Tennessee, and her name is Madison Booker.
Okay, that's fair. I understand that. And I will definitely try and raise you.
There's bets going on here.
And Tennessee forced 23 Buckeye turnovers in the second round.
I picked the Volunteers. I picked the Volunteers to take down Ohio State. However, you're talking about a team in Texas that takes care of the basketball, and I say it's going to come down to a possession from Madison Booker that will seal the game for Texas. And I wouldn't be surprised also if there's an overtime involved and if one of these reaches triple digits.
We'll see who's right, won't we? I mean, Madison Booker is fabulous.
But folks, anybody who knows the friendship between me and Allie, we have bets like this all the time. We've done it for 13 years, and we got to scram. Allie, thank you so much, my love, for coming on. We appreciate you. We'll see you next Thursday.
You too. Have a great week.
You too.
Let's talk about.
I'm not going to be stupid and predict a blowout between Texas and Tennessee. Matter of fact, it could be a 2 overtime classic like Maryland and Alabama was.
Bro.
Since we're talking about betting, we might as well go ahead and bring up the tag team of betting when it comes to Snowman Multimedia. And that's, of course, BetUS.com and Wanna Parlays.
Oh, boy.
With that being said,
we got to get out of here.
Yep.
Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. Always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. Opening day today on Snowman Multimedia. So long, everybody.
dear NCAA, get your gray wig wearing heads out your asses and fix your ish, you dumb some bitches. Bye.